He built dream cars for celebrities, transformed forgotten wrecks into rolling works of art, and became the face of one of television's most beloved car shows. But while millions admired Chip Foose for his talent and charisma, few realized the weight he carried off camera. Behind the polished chrome and smiling appearances, his life was marked by heartbreak, devastating loss, and private struggles that nearly tore him apart. Today, we're uncovering the untold story of Chip Foose, his rise to fame, the family tragedies that shook him to his core, and the resilience that kept him moving forward. Chip Foose wasn't just born into cars, he was immersed in them. From his earliest memories, the smell of motor oil and the sound of engines filled his world. His father, Sam Foose, was no ordinary mechanic. He worked under custom car legend Gene Winfield, crafting models and building machines that shaped the industry. As a boy, Chip would sit in the workshop, wide-eyed, watching his father and the crew turn raw metal into sleek designs. Sam often brought home scale models, letting Chip mirror the same cars being built in the shop. These weren't toys. They were the seeds of a passion that would define his entire life. To Chip, his father wasn't just a role model, but his hero and best friend. Sam taught him patience, creativity, and the belief that mistakes were only stepping stones to growth. That foundation was everything. But while most kids dreamed of riding bikes or playing baseball, Chip was sketching cars and dreaming about building his own. Little did he know, his first real chance behind the wheel would end in disaster, a crash so embarrassing it could have ruined his confidence forever. Every car enthusiast remembers their first drive, but Chip's became unforgettable for all the wrong reasons. His father had given him the chance to drive their prized 1956 Ford pickup on an airfield. Nervous but thrilled, young Chip circled the open space, his father sitting beside him. Everything went smoothly until it was time to park. Without power steering, the truck's wheel fought against his grip. Chip struggled, leaning his weight into the turn. In that moment, his foot slipped from the brake and slammed onto the gas pedal. Tires screeched, the truck lunged forward, and in seconds, it plowed into a Rolls-Royce. The force shoved the Rolls into a nearby Porsche. 3 cars wrecked in an instant. Chip froze, terrified of his father's reaction. But Sam didn't yell. Instead, he calmly turned off the ignition and said words Chip would never forget. "Well, you got all 3. That response became a lesson in grace under pressure. Rather than scolding, Sam turned failure into a learning moment. Years later, Chip restored that same Ford truck and proudly displayed it at SEMA, a symbol of both his beginnings and his resilience. But the crashes in his personal life would cut much deeper. Chip's natural talent eventually carried him from college classrooms to Boyd Coddington's legendary hot rod shop. His sketches became reality, and his designs began turning heads across the custom car world. In 1998, he launched Foose Design, but he wasn't building this dream alone. His wife, Lynn, was the quiet force behind the business. She handled paperwork, schedules, and clients while Chip poured his soul into the shop. Her influence started much earlier. Back in their college days, when Chip dropped out due to money struggles, Lynn laid down a rule: no degree, no marriage. It was the push Chip needed. Determined to win her hand, he returned to school and eventually graduated. Soon after, the two married and started their journey together. By 2004, TLC's Overhaulin catapulted Chip into stardom. Viewers loved the surprise transformations and his calm, kind demeanor. The show became a sensation, making Chip a household name. But while fame brought opportunity, it also brought distance. Long hours on set, endless travel, and mounting demands began to pull him away from home. Lynn had once been his greatest supporter, but as the years passed, the very dream she helped him build began to erode their marriage. Success came with a price. Between filming, business deals, and speaking events, Chip's schedule consumed nearly every hour of his life. Days bled into nights, and when he finally returned home, exhaustion replaced conversation. For Lynn, the sacrifices cut deep. She had stood by him from the very beginning, but as the spotlight grew brighter, her world grew lonelier. Family dinners disappeared. Holidays came and went without Chip present. And then came the moment that broke her heart, the night of their daughter Katie's first school play. As she sat alone in the crowd, she watched Katie scan the seats, searching for her father's face. His chair remained empty. The missed moments stacked up, creating a gap between husband and wife that no gift or quick trip could repair. By 2012, the strain was undeniable. Despite Chip's efforts to patch things up, Lynn longed for more than brief appearances between projects. She wanted presence, not apologies. In late 2019, after nearly 3 decades of marriage, Lynn quietly filed for divorce. No tabloid drama, no public spectacle, just a silent end to a lifelong partnership. For Chip, it wasn't just the loss of a marriage. It felt like the collapse of his entire foundation. If losing Lynn shook his world, losing his father shattered it. Sam Foose wasn't just a parent. He was Chip's mentor, partner, and guiding star. His life story was remarkable, from repairing army vehicles in Korea to designing cars alongside Gene Winfield for TV shows like Get Smart and Star Trek. He wasn't simply a builder, he was a craftsman whose fingerprints marked an era of car culture. Chip had grown up learning at his side. Their bond went beyond family, it was creative synergy. Even on Overhaulin, Sam joined the build team, lending his wisdom and humor to the projects. For viewers, it was heartwarming. For Chip, it was priceless. But in November 2018, after battling health complications, Sam passed away. For Chip, the loss was unbearable. In interviews, he spoke openly about how broken he felt, describing his father not just as his hero, but as his best friend. The man who had first handed him a wrench, the man who turned failure into lessons, was gone. And for the first time, Chip faced life without his anchor. But before he could fully process the grief, another tragedy was about to rock the automotive world. Fans of Overhaulin remember Jessie Combs for her charisma and fearless spirit. More than just a TV host, she was a racer who lived for speed. In 2013, she set the record as the fastest woman on four wheels at nearly 400 mph. But Jessie wasn't satisfied. Her eyes were on breaking the women's land speed record of 512 mph. In 2019, at the Alvord Desert, she made her attempt in the North American Eagle Supersonic Speed Challenger, a jet-like car built for extremes. After a successful run, she prepared for another. But during the high-speed pass, disaster struck. The front wheel assembly failed under the pressure, sending the vehicle into a catastrophic crash. Jessie was gone instantly. News of her death shocked the world. For Chip and those who had worked with her, it was deeply personal. Jessie wasn't just a colleague, she was a friend, an inspiration, and a pioneer who embodied the spirit of chasing dreams no matter the risk. Her passing added another layer of grief to Chip's already heavy heart. The world mourned, but for Chip, it was another reminder of how fragile even the strongest spirits can be. In the wake of divorce, his father's death, and Jessie's tragic accident, Chip could have walked away. Many would have, but instead he leaned on the constants in his life, his children and his craft. Designing cars became more than work, it became therapy. He poured his emotions into every sketch, every build, every restoration. The workshop became both a sanctuary and a battlefield, where he wrestled with loss while creating beauty. His kids stood by him, reminding him that while he had lost much, he hadn't lost everything. In interviews, Chip admitted to regrets. He spoke of the dangers of putting work before family, reflecting, "You think you're doing everything for your family, but sometimes you don't see how much you're leaving them behind." Those words carried the weight of experience, painful lessons carved into his journey. Today, Foose Design remains one of the most respected names in custom automotive work. Chip still shows up at car shows, still sketches designs with passion, still builds cars that make jaws drop. The scars remain, but so does the drive. His story is no longer just about cars. It's about survival, resilience, and rediscovering purpose through pain. Chip Foose's story isn't the shiny, polished fairy tale fans once believed. It's a story of triumph shadowed by heartbreak, of a man who reached the heights of success while quietly enduring loss after loss. From a childhood crash that nearly ended his confidence, to the painful unraveling of his marriage, to the death of his father and the tragic loss of Jessie Combs, each chapter left its mark. Yet through it all, Chip remains standing. His legacy isn't just in the cars he's designed or the TV shows he's hosted, but in the lessons he embodies. That mistakes can become milestones, that even the strongest foundations can crack, yet still be rebuilt. And that passion, when channeled with resilience, can keep a person moving even when the road seems impassable. Today, when fans see Chip at events or admire his latest builds, they see more than a designer. They see a man who has endured storms most never knew about, and who continues to move forward one project at a time. Because beneath the polished chrome and flawless paint, the real story of Chip Foose is one of perseverance, and a reminder that even legends carry scars.